Hello once again, and welcome to another episode of Inside IUE Sports. I'm your host, Caleb Gillock. On today's episode, we'll be talking about track and field as well as the men's tennis season coming up this spring, and Franklin Christ will have another edition of Wolf Tales for us. Joining me first today to talk about track and field, head coach Dave Sanders, along with Trisha Spivey. Thanks for joining me today, guys.
Yes, man.
Yeah, thanks
it's always a pleasure.
All right, well, thanks for joining me once again. But the indoor season officially over after the DePaul meet this past Saturday. Just tell us how the season went, Coach.
The season went pretty well. This is our first time, like I said, having more than just one meet. We had a total of 4 meets, I believe. And, I mean, it's just something that we've never done before, and I think that we can only grow from that.
Right.
I think we had a pretty successful 4 meets, and next year, hopefully we're looking to add a couple more and officially declare as an indoor. So that's something that we didn't do this year, so we're pretty excited about moving forward.
It also seemed like there's a lot of time between the meets throughout the winter. Did you see the improvement that you wanted to see between each meet?
Yeah, like you said, there is a lot of time, but that's design time in between the meets. We started off December 11th, and then we wanted to have that meet before the semester break because, I mean, we start practicing in September, so I mean, we didn't want to practice all through September and then have to wait until second semester to run. So that meet was great, and then we had the couple weeks off, and then we got after it. I know in between Anderson and Trine, then it was 1 week, and then from Trine to DePaul it was 2 weeks. So it's design time that the athletes need to recover and get their bodies right.
All right, your thoughts on the season, Trisha?
Basically what Coach said sums it up pretty well. I think we all became a lot more confident throughout the time, a lot of time that was given to us, and we had a lot more time to work on form and just get stronger and better as we went.
And your thoughts on how your season went as an individual?
I was pretty happy with it, I guess. I wasn't too happy with the last meet just because I think I could have performed a lot better, but just coming back every year and jumping again, I always get really scared because you never know how well you're going to do, or if, you know, my fears, like I think I lost it all. And so just coming back and knowing that I can still jump, it made me feel pretty good.
All right, well, we'll talk about the DePaul meet here in a few minutes, but Coach, who were some of the athletes that stood out to you throughout the indoor season?
Well, when you talk about athletes that stand out, you have to look to my left here. Trisha was consistent for us all year, all indoor season, with heights of 163, which is like 5'4", 5'5", somewhere around there. Just consistently jumping well. Except for that last meet, she was kind of all over the place, but she still jumped right where she needs to be. So that's who you have to start off with. Next is Seth Reynolds, Clint Swanson, a couple of guys. Levi Dunahee, he had a great indoor season. Everyone really, I mean, everyone came out and ran as hard as they can. Everyone had PRs and broke school records, and that's all you can ask for. We're relatively young, so we have to establish ourselves, and everyone came out and did a great job of whether that's running a PR, whether that's winning meets, whether that's breaking records. I mean, everyone had a pretty good indoor season. That's the only thing you can ask for, everyone to get better each meet.
All right, well, to conclude the season, went to the DePaul University Classic. Just tell us a little bit about how that went.
It went well. We had a couple top 5 finishes, which is really, really good for us. We don't, as far as team success, I think on the guys' side we finished 7th. On the girls' side we finished like 9th out of 13 teams. So, I mean, we beat a few teams, which is always a good confidence booster, but we have to get a little bit more consistent and bringing it every week. And I feel like that DePaul meet, it was a little up and down. I mean, we were a little sore. We worked pretty hard though, because we had, like I said, 2 meets or 2 weeks in between the meet, and we worked pretty hard during those 2 weeks, and I kind of expected that. But at the same time, we have to come with a little bit more consistency and bring it every week.
All right, Trisha, you said a little bit ago you thought you could maybe have performed a little bit better there at DePaul. Tell us about that.
I don't know, just going into the meet, I was pretty nervous, and I think it may have just been because we were concluding the indoor season, and I wanted to make a good impression on my last meet. So I think maybe my nerves may have gotten the best of me. But other than that, you know, I was happy with the way I was able to, you know, go out and win the meet, and you know, I wasn't very consistent, but I was able to pull a win, so that was pretty good for me.
And I mean, to add on to that, that's big time to not because it wasn't that she wasn't jumping well. She had all the pop in the world, but her steps were a little inconsistent, and we just couldn't find those. But to still win the meet when you're not at your best, that's still a good feeling and a good way to conclude the indoor season.
All right, one more event to talk about was the 4x200 relay. Tell us about that.
The 4x2 was a little crazy. Actually, we dropped the baton, which like in about 3 years ago, it had been illegal to pick it up and go, but they changed the rule and you can do that now. And actually, it was on the last leg and the last handoff, and we completely dropped the baton. And Clint was his heads up, and he went after it and grabbed the baton and actually took off. And I told Clint, I was like, well, you're lucky that I wasn't closer to you, because I probably would have called you off and told you to just jog it in. But he had something else on his mind that day, and he grabbed that baton and just took off. The guy was like 20 meters ahead of him, and he was like, all right, I'm determined to get him. And he went and he just got him. And that got us in second place, which was always nice. I mean, move up a place, and he did a good job.
All right, well, moving on to the outdoor season coming up this spring. It starts on March 24th, at the Anderson Invite. Pretty much expect to see the same thing there as the indoor one?
We've always liked going to Anderson. Anderson's a great meet for us because we can compete there. I mean, we can bring some people in. We usually win 2 or 3 events at Anderson, and that's always a good confidence booster. And it's just a great meet to start it off. One thing that's kind of eerie is it's a week after spring break, and so you have to find time for people to get there and stuff like that to practice. But I think we're going to be ready for it.
All right, from there on April 2nd, travel to the Hanover Invite. What do you expect to see there?
Hopefully good weather. I know in the past it's been rainy and muddy and everything, and Trisha hasn't experienced that yet. So hopefully we get some good weather this go around.
All right, and a week later you go to Taylor. What do you expect to see there?
This is actually our first year going to Taylor. Taylor has been an elite program in the NAI for a little while. They always have a couple of national qualifiers, and that's what we're after. I mean, we're trying to go and compete with teams like Taylor and Indiana Wesleyan, who sends, and Indiana Tech for that matter, all those local Indiana schools. We're trying to compete with them and send our guys and girls to the nationals.
All right, then on April 15th and 16th, the Little State Championships. I know Coach Crowley talked about how big of a deal that was last year. Tell us about that.
Little State is almost like our halfway point. So, I mean, and it's going to be great competitions. Basically, every NAI program, every Division II, Division III program, junior college program in the state of Indiana. So, I mean, you're going to come across some big-time talent, and it's going to be right in the peak of everyone's season, about the midpoint where kids are trying to run their best times or jump their highest heights. So, I mean, it's going to be some crazy competition. And in years past, I feel like we couldn't compete with it. But, I mean, everyone's getting better, and we're recruiting better kids. And I feel like we can go and compete and have a great couple of days, and that's our only 2-day meet. Our only 2-day meet. So I mean, the kids get excited about it, get pumped up, and they go out, and it's usually a great meet for us.
All right, well, we're out of time. Thanks both of you for joining me. Congratulations on a great indoor season. Best of luck coming up this spring outdoors.
Thank you.
All right, well, there you have it from Coach Sanders and Trisha Spivey talking about the previous indoor season and a look ahead to the outdoor season coming up on March 24th. The team will conclude the season April 30th at the KIAC round at Rio Grande. We'll be right back with more Inside IUE Sports right after this.
This is where a busy mom can work toward a bachelor's degree from a top national university during softball practice. It's where a service member can continue his college studies from anywhere in the world, and where you'll benefit from one of the country's most effectively delivered online programs.
Woohoo!
So, if you've ever wondered if a college education is really worth it, this is where you'll see that it is. This is Indiana University East Online.
And welcome back for more Inside IUE Sports. I'm your host, Caleb Gillock, and it's time to talk about men's tennis. And joining me to do so, Colton Shipley. Thanks for joining me today.
No problem. It's a pleasure.
All right. Well, the season officially opens up tomorrow at Glenn Miller Park on February 28th. What do you expect out of the season?
Well, we have a pretty tough schedule, so we'll have to work pretty hard. We're going to have to bring it like all season.
Right. Just talk a little bit about how this fall season went.
Yeah, it went pretty well. I feel like we played pretty well. We played some tough teams as well during the fall. Overall, I'm pretty pleased with the way we played.
All right, well, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about all the guys on the team. We'll start with freshman Keaton Akers. Tell us about him.
Keaton had a great high school career. He came in not real nervous, pretty prepared to play. He can hit power with the best of them. He can stay consistent. He's got pretty much the tools he needs to succeed at the level we play.
All right, moving on, talking about sophomore Seth Guard.
Seth, the improvement I've seen in Seth from our freshman year to our sophomore year is insane. He works super hard, I know, all summer, as much as he can. So I'm really pleased with the way Seth has been playing lately.
All right, then Joey Icing, a freshman.
Joey, talk about surprise, I guess. Came in out of nowhere. Never really heard of the school he came from, never really heard of him. Came in, when you look at him, he doesn't look like a great tennis player, but I can promise you he is.
What makes him so unique?
He just has a really unique style. His backhand's better than his forehand, which is really uncommon. And he just works super hard as well.
All right, then senior Connor Kramer.
Yeah, Connor. He's super crafty. He plays pretty well. It's so hard to gauge his game because you think, right when you think he figured out something about his game, he changes it up and he can just come back and get you with something else.
All right, then freshman Alex Shelley.
Alex, yeah, he's also another surprise. Came from Avon. Didn't really know much about him. We knew they were a really strong team, but he played two doubles, so we didn't know how he'd fit in. Came in, ended up being probably tied for the best freshman, if not the second best freshman. So it was pretty pleasing to find out that he could play as well as us. Right.
Then another senior, Ethan Talby.
Yeah, Ethan is also another surprise because he worked extremely hard. I've seen a lot of improvement from him from my freshman year to sophomore year, so from his junior to senior year.
Right.
He had some struggles with his serve at first, but I know he worked really hard with E to get a better serve, so that's where he's at right now.
All right, then last but not least, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, played a lot in high school, so came in a little nervous because I'd never really played a high level of tennis. So, I don't know, I was really worried about my serve, but overall it's leveled out and seemed to be hitting pretty well lately.
All right, well, in your sophomore season here at IU East, we didn't have a chance to have you in here last year, but just tell us a bit about what made you choose IU East.
Well, I was looking at a lot of different schools, and none of them really felt like a complete fit to me. And something about East here in Richmond just felt great when I walked on campus. All the guys I talked to on the team seemed pretty cool. The campus felt really mellow, and that was kind of what I was looking for. It's a smaller campus. That's what I like.
Right.
So that's kind of what went into my choice.
So what exactly is your area of study here?
Right now, I'm technically an elementary education major, but I'm going to be switching my major to criminal justice. So.
Right. What made you decide to make that change?
I don't know. Education just wasn't something that was for me, I guess.
Couldn't handle all the little kids?
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
All right. So are you wanting to go into being like a police officer, or what are you wanting to do with that criminal justice degree?
I'm hoping to be a state police officer. That's what I'm really interested in. So if not, maybe DEA, something like that.
And what inspired you to do that? Just interest, or?
Yeah, my dad used to be a police officer. My cousin's a state trooper, so kind of around it a lot.
Right.
It makes sense to me.
So how have they impacted or influenced you to maybe make that decision?
My dad always told me just to do what I wanted. He didn't care what it was, just go do whatever I wanted. So that's why I thought education was going to be good for me, because I kind of wanted to get into the coaching side of things. And I like kids. It just felt like a good fit. But once I started studying, I realized it just wasn't something I was that interested in.
All right. Well, back to tomorrow. What do you expect in the home opener at Glenn Miller Park tomorrow?
Well, we start on Sunday, so.
Okay.
But overall, I don't know. I know they're a pretty tough program, Davis Elkins, but I'll have to bring it, I guess.
All right. Well, thanks for your time, and thanks for joining me here today.
My pleasure.
All right. Well, there you have it from men's tennis player Colton Shipley talking about the team and what he expects out of the season, as well as his life as a student. We'll be right back with more Inside IUE Sports right after this. And welcome back. IU East Wolftails reporter Franklin Christ had a chance to sit down and talk with men's basketball player and senior Dom Williams. Here's Franklin with Dom talking about life on and off the basketball court.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Wolftails. I'm your host, Franklin Christ, and joining me today from the men's basketball team, Dom Williams.
How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Good to have you on.
Thanks.
First off, Don, let's go back to your days of playing high school basketball. Played at Bishop Lewis High School. Obviously, you know, rich tradition there in terms of high school basketball. Got to play with one of the best players, really, of all time coming out of high school, and James Blackman. What was it about James Blackman that made him so special?
He was just always ready to work. Like, anytime he would always ask, you want to go shoot, you want to go lift, you want to go do some dribbling drills. He was just always down for it.
Sure. Well, talk about your relationship with him. Were you guys a close-knit unit?
We weren't that close just because he was in a younger grade than I was.
Sure.
But we worked out a lot at his house sometimes, and just staying after school and just hanging out.
I remember you mentioning actually this past season about his house, and what were some of the things about his house that made it great to go there and work out at?
Just a full-size gym.
Really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. I can imagine, with a full-size floor in his basement. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I can imagine that'd probably make things a little bit easier to get better at honing your skills.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, you know, when you went from high school to college, went to a JUCO in Wyoming, Western Wyoming. Talk about your decision to go to Western Wyoming. What drew you to them?
Well, I was supposed to be going to a school in where was it?
Moral of the story is irrelevant now.
Right.
Sure.
And they wanted me to redshirt or whatever, and I really wasn't down for that because I just wanted to play right away. So he said he knew a guy that was a new coach in Wyoming, and I was like, I've never been to Wyoming, you know what I'm saying? And he said that he could have him recruit me, and I'd come out there, play 2 years, and then the other coach from the Division II could possibly pick me up.
Sure.
So I gone ahead, went to Western Wyoming, and then the coach ended up leaving and going to a different school, so had to
kind
make
of a mess.
Yeah.
Sure. Obviously, you know, you mentioned you've never been to Wyoming. I've never been to Wyoming. I think the farthest west I've been is Colorado.
Right.
And that's been a long time ago. So what makes, obviously, you know, the cliche in Wyoming is that it's flat and everything's, you know, it's like the plains. Is that necessarily true?
Well, yeah, it's pretty flat, and it's a lot of mountains, like, just surrounding you.
Okay, yeah. Obviously, what was one of the biggest differences, one of the biggest shocks in going out there to Wyoming? What was it about the place that really surprised you the most?
The people down there, they were, like, real happy and just open to everybody that was there, even if you were new or you've been there for years or not. They were just very open.
Sure, so just a totally different personality then, sure. Obviously spent 2 years at Western Wyoming, decided to come to IU East. I can imagine one of the biggest reasons you probably wanted to come to IU East is it's closer to Fort Wayne.
Right.
What were some other reasons that you decided to come to IU East?
IU degree, really.
Sure,
Yeah, that was very big. And I don't know, just felt like it was the right decision to make, to come here and play closer to home, and you got that IU degree, and that was most important to me. And when I first came on a visit, and I played with the guys, you know, interacted with them, something just clicked, and it just let me know that this is where I need to be.
Sure. What was it about those guys that really drew you to them?
They were just open, just all types of different fun stuff to do. They pay for everything, so it was
good gig.
Yeah,
good gig. Yeah. What makes obviously, you know, you hear people a lot of times they talk about the atmosphere of tournament basketball. What is it about Branson that makes it such a good setting for the national tournament?
It's just a very huge gym. It's a lot of people. They're just real loud and crazy in the stands, and it just feels like NBA.
Yeah, sure. Obviously, you know, you've spent now 4 years playing college basketball. I know myself, it's crazy to look back and, you know, the time just flies,
Yeah.
it seems like. Does it seem like that for you?
Yeah, just flew right past.
Yeah, I can understand that. Next season, you're actually going to return. You got 1 more year of school.
Yes.
You're going to return next year to be I forget the official term, but you're going to assist.
Yes.
What's one of the biggest things that you hope to bring to the basketball team next year as well?
Just be more vocal, you know, get the guys into it, you know, be like their hype man.
Sure.
And just do what I can, just to help the guys out.
I understand. Obviously, in 4 years, a lot can change. You know, obviously, you may not even position yourself in that particular position. I know myself, I didn't think I was going to be in Richmond 4 years after I graduated high school, 5 years after I graduated high school. But what are some of the biggest changes that you've seen in yourself over your 4 years in college?
Growing up, I was an only child, and I was just very quiet. And I feel like when I got to college, things started to change, and I started to be more vocal and more open to people.
Sure.
And really starting to, you know, talk more.
Really? Yeah, just mingle in.
Yeah.
Sure. Obviously, you know, about to finish up your schooling here in the next year. What are some of your plans going to be after you finish school?
Well, I'm going to work, of course.
Sure, yeah.
Then eventually I want to open up my own shoe store.
Sure.
So got to figure a couple of things out. My cousin has a friend that has his own shop, like a clothing store. So I might go down there and intern with him and see how it all works, and then go from there.
You got any logistics and possible locations set up for this?
I haven't set a location yet.
Yeah. Pending in the process.
Pending.
Sure. Well, Dom, I really appreciate you being on. Good luck in the national tournament this upcoming week, and yeah, best of luck to you. And thanks to those of you watching at home, and we'll see you again next time on another edition of Wolf Tale.
Sports injuries can happen for a lot of reasons. Whether your injury is because of improper training or an accident on the field, I can help. I'm Dr. Jonathan Shea. I specialize in the prevention, diagnosis, and treatment of injuries associated with athletic activity. Together, we'll develop the best plan for you, regain your active lifestyle, and get back to peak performance as quickly as possible. For more information, visit readortho.org. Read Health, right beside you.
And welcome back to Inside IUE Sports. That sound you just heard means that it is time for Wolf Center. Wolf Center is where we take a look back at last week's IU East results and ahead to next week's schedule. You can download the Wolf House sound you just heard by downloading the free IU East Athletics app at the iTunes App Store or at Google Play. Now taking a look back at last week's IU East results, on February 16th, the women's basketball team defeated Alice Lloyd 67-50. Tia King scored 32 points and had 9 rebounds for the Red Wolves. On February 16th, the men's basketball team lost at Alice Lloyd 84-72. Sophomore Lucas Huffman contributed 23 points. On February 20th, the women's basketball team beat Midway 74-50 in the final game of the season. Kristen Miller had 15 points and 6 rebounds. On February 20th, the women's track and field team placed 8th at the DePaul Classic. Trisha Spivey placed 1st in the high jump. Also on February 20th, the men's track and field team placed 7th at the DePaul Classic. Clint Swanson placed 2nd in the 400, 2nd place on the 4x200 relay, and 3rd place on the 4x400 relay. Now taking a look ahead at the schedule, on February 27th, the women's basketball team will be in the KIC tournament semifinals against the winner of Russia and Point Park. And if IU East beats Alice Lloyd, that game will be scheduled for 1 or 2 o'clock p.m. at Earlham College on February 27th. Also on February 27th, the men's basketball team will be playing in the kayak tournament semifinals. They'll take on the winner of Cincinnati Christian and WVU Tech, assuming that they beat Asbury in the first round this past Wednesday. On February 28th, the tennis team will be at home against Davis and Elkins. This will begin at 9 a.m. at Riverside or 12:30 p.m. at Glen Miller Park. This is the spring opener for the men's tennis team. Then on March 1st, the women's basketball team could play in the KIC Tournament Finals. This game will be scheduled for 6 or 7 p.m. at Earlham College with live coverage at IUERedWolves.com. Also on March 1st, the men's basketball team could be in the KIC Tournament Final. This game will be at Earlham College or in Pippa Passes, Kentucky at Ellis Lloyd with coverage at IUERedWolves.com. Also on a side note, the men's basketball team is once again going dancing in Branson. That's right, they qualified for the NAIA Division II Men's Basketball National Tournament for the second year in a row. Well, that concludes this week's episode of Inside IUE Sports. I'm your host, Caleb Gillock. We'll see you next time.